Hi, this is Theo from PocketBlocks.com. Today I'm going to show you how I wash my watercolor brushes. This video, by the way, is a remake of an earlier version. In the earlier version, someone told me that the way I wash my brushes is not the best practice. So take note that this video is on how I wash my brushes. It's not a how to wash watercolor brushes, but I will post some links to some best practices on how you can wash your watercolor brushes in the video description. But today I'm just going to show you how I wash mine. Alright, let's see what we have here. I have a cup of water, and this is another cup. This is a collapsible cup made by Faber-Castell. This is quite cool because you can push this down to make it compact and bring it around. It's pretty cool, and you can put your brushes like this on top of it and you can move it around like this. It's very good. And there are 3 watercolor brushes. The brush at the top is a Navskaya Palitra size 5. This is a Kolinsky Sable brush made in Russia. This is the brush that I use quite often in my YouTube tutorials. You can see that this is quite new. This part here, the furrow, is quite glossy. And this brush is the Rosemary Brush. This is also a Kolinsky Sable brush, but this is a collapsible brush, so you can bring this around very conveniently. And this, you see, it's quite dirty because I use this outdoors quite often. And lastly, this brush is the Escoda Perla brush. I don't use this very often, so you can see that the gloss has disappeared from this metal part here, and the bristles, they are not pure white anymore, they are stained with watercolor. Today I'm going to wash this brush. This Rosemary brush. I usually clean my brush by rinsing it under the running tap or in a cup of clean water. But if it's really dirty, then I will have to use the brush cleaning soap. The last thing is the cleaning soap for brushes. This is made by Vinci. My box is pretty old. You can see some of the rust starting to form. And I have not used this for a very long time, so it's a bit difficult to open with all the rust forming around these edges. So this is the soap. It comes in different sizes. This is, I think, the large size. You can see some of the rust forming here as well. I think it's not really too big of a problem, but yeah, that's the problem with such metal boxes. When I'm using watercolor at home, I usually have 2 cups of water. One is for cleaning the brush and the other cup is for getting clean water. If I am painting outdoors, then I will bring along this small bottle of water for cleaning. And because I only have 1 bottle for cleaning, usually the brushes that I use outdoors are much more dirty. So this is a very good example of a dirty brush. And this is an example of a clean brush that I use at home, where I usually just rinse it after each use and also wash it with cups of clean water. Let's take a closer look at this before I clean it. Usually to clean this, I will just wet this first and put some drops of water onto the soap. There is an indent here so it can hold some water. You can see that as I put the water down, it seems that I did not clean this brush properly. There's some color in the brush, so that's not good. So after I've added water, I basically just mix around just to get the soap onto the hairs of the brush. Just mix around like this, turn it around a bit. Make sure the soap covers all of the brush. Alright, you can see the color coming up from the brush. I was using phthalo green, I think, before that. Alright, so now let's clean off the soap. I'm just going to wash this in the water like this, just to clean it off. And after that, let's take a look at the difference. You can see that the hair is cleaner now, but this part here is still a bit dirty. So I can just go in and clean this part off like this. Just twist it slowly. Make sure that I don't damage the hair. Some of the paint will come off. some will not. You might have to press a bit harder. Anyway, this is just cosmetic. It doesn't really affect the brush, the hair of the brush. Oops. See this? If you turn it too close to the hair might actually start to spray out. So be careful of that. Let me wash this again. So you can turn it close, but not so close as to damage the hair. I think I shall just leave it as it is. I don't need to clean this very completely because it's not very important to me. As long as the hair is clean, that is good enough for me. And this is how it looks like when it's clean. As for the soap, I can just use the paper towel and just wipe off all the dirty stuff and use it on another day. But I'll make sure to dry this in the sun first. For white bristles like this, it's almost impossible to clean off some of the watercolors because some colors are staining, like phthalo blue or phthalo green. They will stain your hair and it's very difficult, if not impossible, to clean off the colors. It's not too big of an issue because after a while you'll probably get used to it. When you're storing watercolor brushes or painting, do not put your watercolor brushes in the cup like this with the hair down in the water because it's going to affect the shape of your hair. And secondly, do not submerge the whole brush into the water, especially if the water is going to go above the metal part, because inside this part here, they actually use some sort of glue to glue the hair at the back so that the hairs do not fall out. And if you were to submerge this whole brush in the water, it's going to affect the glue and it might actually damage your brush. You might find that when you're painting, the hair will start coming out. After the brush is clean, it's time to dry it. Most brush manufacturers, they recommend you dry the brush either by hanging the brush like this so that the water can flow down to the tip so that it can evaporate faster, or you can put the brush flat like this, same thing. Personally, for me, I either dry my brush like this in the cup, but one thing to note is when you're drying your brush like this in a cup, the water pools in the furrow here, so it might take a bit longer to dry. But so far for me over the years, I don't have any problems with drying my brush like that because I keep my brush quite near the window where there is strong sunlight. Of course, recently I bought this cup. This is a Faber-Castell Click and Go water cup, and there are some wavy cuttings here, and this allows me to put my brush horizontally. So from now onwards, I'm going to just dry my brush horizontally like this, or sometimes I may actually just dry my brush on my watercolor palette because some of the watercolor palettes, they allow you to dry your brush horizontally as well. For more information on care for watercolor brushes and watercolor brush storage, I will point you to the link in the video description below that goes to handprint.com. You can find a lot of useful information on that website. And that is all for my video today. I hope you find it helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to post them in the comment section below. If you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, do so for more sketching tips, tutorial, art product reviews. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Bye.